So the Labour Party is reeling today from 5 suspended MPs, and there's something quietly corrosive about the sight of 4 MPs sitting as independents just weeks after a new parliament. 5 is extraordinary. Suspending them from their own party, not for misconduct, corruption, or scandal, but for standing up for their what they believe is their own conscience, or more precisely, for standing up for their constituents. It invites not only political analysis, but constitutional reflection. We are, after all, in a representative democracy. The system only works when representation happens. And when an MP is suspended from their party, they're not removed from the Commons. They retain their salary, their office, their seat, but they are simultaneously neutered, marginalised, often excluded from internal party meetings, shunned by the press, and crucially, they're prevented from functioning as part of the majority that their constituents may have voted for. And this is a structural problem. When MPs are suspended, whether for ethical reasons or, as in the case of Diane Abbott, for simply an inability to say what she's thinking and to repeat racist abuse that she's already apologised for in the past, for political rebellion maybe, the voice of the constituency is diminished. What we're left with is a gaping representative vacuum. It's no longer tenable to pretend that this is an acceptable price for party discipline. The current Labour Party, elected with a commanding majority, appears to have mistaken strength for inflexibility, and suspending 5 MPs and sacking 3 trade envoys might seem like an assertion of authority. In truth, it signals brittle leadership, a lack of internal dialogue, a refusal to accommodate dissent, even of the most constructive sorts. All 4 suspended MPs in the first batch, as well as Diane Abbott, Leishman, Hincliffe, Duncan-Jordan and Mascow, acted not out of personal interest, but, they say, on principle. These are not firebrands or freeloaders. They're experienced campaigners, committee members, local champions, some are first-time MPs, who flipped impossible seats on the back of Labour's promise to listen, and now they're being punished for speaking. But I want to shift the frame. This isn't just about party discipline, it's about constitutional adequacy. And our current system has no mechanism to deputise for suspended MPs, whether they are suspended for party discipline or whether they're suspended because they themselves are under, let's say, a legal investigation. No system of temporary substitutes exists in the British constitutional, in the parliamentary methodology. There's no provision for a constituent, say, MP who loses the whip but not their seat, and this creates a fundamental asymmetry. The MP retains their office but loses their influence. The people retain their representative in name but not in function. Imagine for a moment a doctor suspended from the NHS while working in the hospital but denied access to medicine, patients and their medical team. They remain on site, but they are rendered symbolic. It's the same here. We need reform. We need deputies, temporary proxies empowered to act in the name of the suspended MP while they resolve their dispute or face their sanction. And this could be a locally nominated alternative, a party-affiliated colleague, somebody elected by PR. It may indeed even be a way for the government to test the quality of PR. But even a process of digital proxy voting might be a way of dealing with this sort of problem. But the principle is clear. Constituents should not be punished for the internal mismanagement of national parties or for the problems that might befall a specific individual. Now compare the case of MPs suspended for political rebellion with those embroiled, therefore, in scandal. An MP who is under investigation for bullying, sexual misconduct or criminal behaviour is also not removed from Parliament. They too can linger in the chamber, stripped of the whip, disgraced in the press, but still hold office. And their constituents are similarly disenfranchised. Yet curiously, the system offers more leniency to those facing genuine scandal than those merely expressing disagreement. And here lies the paradox. The MP who votes against a bill may be expelled from the party. The MP who sexually harasses a staffer may remain on the back benches pending a tortuous investigation. Where is the consistency? Where's the moral clarity here? So Keir Starmer's decision to suspend these four MPs and then Diane Abbott is framed as leadership. It is at best managerialism. Starmer has insisted that those who break the whip have to be dealt with, arguing that Labour MPs were elected on a common manifesto and must now deliver it. But if that manifesto includes listening, dignity and a new kind of politics, then punishing MPs for opposing cuts to disability benefits makes a mockery of that promise. Rachel Maskell was suspended not for undermining the government, but for defending the disabled. Duncan-Jordan simply said he couldn't vote to make people poorer. One does not have to agree with their stance to respect its legitimacy, nor does one have to endorse rebellion to acknowledge the constitutional damage of suspension without substitution. And all of this has a wider cost. Labour has announced a bold £500 million fund for vulnerable families. It should have dominated the headlines. Instead, the media focused on internal discipline, the party's inability to shape a coherent narrative, to tell a story the country can actually believe in, is being sabotaged by its own insecurity. Voters see not strength but suppression, not clarity but confusion. And if Parliament is to function, we must stop pretending that suspension is simply an internal matter. We must develop mechanisms to maintain real representation, even when MPs are punished or shunned. It's not about leniency for rebels, nor about giving MPs a free pass to undermine government. It's about preserving the integrity of representation. And the contract between the voter and their MP must be honoured, even if the party disowns them. So here's a proposal. Establish a constitutional convention to review the rights and roles of suspended MPs. Consider systems of deputy representation or time-limited suspensions with formal reviews. Explore mechanisms for local input when MPs are excluded from their party. Above all, let's remember that Parliament exists to serve the people, not the interests of the individuals ensconced in the Commons, not to stage dramas of discipline. We must stop governing by punishment and start legislating with proper purpose.